we're going to be speaking with the NAF Academy Director to get information about exactly what the NAF Academy is, which careers it covers, how it fits into or with the CTE programs, the benefits to students and their families, as well as information on when and how students can join. So if you have a middle school student or a high school student that is interested in learning about different careers or wants to get into either medical school or engineering, or doesn't really know exactly what they want to do yet with their life, then I think you're going to want to watch today's show. Welcome to the latest episode of Learning with Success, the show for parents of school-aged children, sponsored by Success Tutoring Online, helping students with academic progress for over 20 years. And I'm your host, Armando Salcido. Today again, I have not one, but two guests. I have Alyson Edge, the Burbank USD NAF Academy Director for both John Burroughs and Burbank High Schools. By the way, NAF stands for National Academy Foundation. And my second guest, Cynthia Wagner, in addition to having her own business, College Help Squad, helps students, which helps students get into college, is also the advisory board chair for the NAF Academy. We'll find out more about that in just a bit. Welcome to both of you. How are you both doing?
Great, thank you. Thanks for having us.
All right, very good. So my first question is, Alyson, can you explain what the NAF Academy is and what it encompasses?
Sure. The NAF Academy is a special program that we have at our high schools. We have an academy for business students at Burbank High, and we have academy for engineering and academy for medical, both at Burbank High and at John Burroughs. And the students get to take special classes to explore those fields that they think they have an interest in, and they have some specialty electives, and we have some really other cool projects and components to the program that we call work-based learning. And so kind of the academy as a whole is 4 years of those put together, the projects, the classes, the curriculum, and the students really get a pretty good deep dive on figuring out what a career in business, engineering, or medical would look like for them.
Wow, very good. All right, the next question I'll ask Cynthia. Cynthia, is the NAF Academy available to all students in the United States, or is this something that is specific to California?
It's available across the country. We were just at the NAF convention in Scottsdale, Arizona, and that was amazing because I was able to meet NAF board members from all over, and they are now just starting international. So they're starting to kind of spread their wings a little bit. I'm excited to see where that goes.
All right, very good. So, I think Alyson would be the best person to answer this next question, but if not, let me know. Okay, so in a recent podcast, we learned quite a bit about CTE, and we were informed that the NAF Academy is a part of CTE. So my question is, how does the NAF Academy work with CTE, and how are they different?
So I think the easiest way to explain that is CTE, Career and Technical Education, is think of it like a department, like the English department or the social science department. So CTE is a lot of classes that really focus on career readiness and are associated with careers. So we have animation at the schools, we have photography, we have video production, and then we have engineering, business, and medical. So our NAF Academy really operates under the umbrella of CTE because it's career readiness type, career research type electives.
I see. Okay. All right. Very good. So I probably still have some more questions about how they work together, but before we get dig into that, I'd like to ask Cynthia about her role as the NAF in the NAF Academy. So your title is the NAF Academy Advisory Board Chair. So why is there an advisory board for the NAF Academy, and what does the board do?
Great question. So the NAF Academy has a curriculum on campus for the kids. But the reality is that there's work-based learning, mock interviews, internships, field trips, experiences. So those experiences, field trips, mock interviews, and everything else I just mentioned, I need the community support. So we were able to create a board many years ago, but we're kind of changing this up to really reach out to the community and share what's going on, and where someone like you could do a mock interview, or you could teach what it's like to tutor in all of these areas that you specialize in. So that's where the board exists and kind of functions, is to be the arm for the community and anything outside of the district.
So the board members then are like members of the community, and they interact with the students to help them. It's kind of like to kind of guide them or mentor them in a way.
Kind of, but again, there's specific programs that they can offer. Like I was saying, there are internships. Mock interviews is a great way for someone to get their feet wet. You interview a student for 10 minutes, and it's mind blowing and it's life changing, because when these kids are so happy and excited to talk to someone and actually practice interviewing, it just changes lives. And I'm hoping it changes the kids' life. So that's why we have these boards, is specifically to have these members all help each other and be an arm.
All right, very good. So now, as the board chair, what exactly do you do as the chair for the advisory board?
Nothing. Everybody else does it with me. So we're really I went to the NAF convention, like I was sharing, and I think I was the first board member to go to a NAF convention.
In about 20 years, yes.
And it was really helpful and insightful to understand, okay, work-based learning. So this is what's going on in the curriculum. So what do we need to do to help create community interest and involvement? So I think the first step is to really tell and give the message about NAF to our community, and then be able to say, can you come in and help? Can you help make a difference in these students' lives? So that's why I'm here.
Okay, very good. It's kind of like the whole purpose of the podcast.
Exactly.
All right, well, that's good. So now I have some questions about specific training that students receive in these academies. I'd like to get some information about both the classes that they take, as well as some of the hands-on training that students receive. So let's start with the Business Academy. What classes do students in the Business Academy take, and what kind of skills do they learn? Alyson?
So our students in the Business Academy at Burbank High really start their business electives in their sophomore year. And they have a semester of accounting where they learn pretty much one business cycle of a sole proprietorship service business. So all the accounting that comes along with that. They have a semester class in marketing. They have a semester class in financial planning that includes learning about the careers of financial planning, but also a huge component on just personal financial literacy. And then we have a professional ethics class. Our senior level class is economics, but it is really taught from a business perspective. Economics is a senior level graduation requirement for everybody in Burbank Unified, but our classes take it our students take it as a group together and really approach it from that business standpoint. And it's kind of where they bring in all that culminating project, all the stuff that they do is part of that class as well, the economics class.
So, okay, so those are some of the classes. And then what kind of like hands-on things do they do?
Well, with those classes, for the most part, I would say more hands-on than anything are going to be using programs, really understanding spreadsheets, top to bottom, back to front, everything, especially for accounting. Spreadsheets, whether it's Google Sheets or Excel. When it comes to marketing, they're going to use something like Canva and maybe understand how to create a social media calendar and how to create eye-catching posts, how to work on branding and what that looks like. So I would say a lot of the hands-on activities when it comes to business are going to be computer program that they're working with and understanding.
Wow. Okay. So it's actual application that somebody would use in a business then.
Yep.
Wow. That's great. That's great. Okay, now, what about engineering in the Engineering Academy? So what classes do students enroll in the Engineering Academy, and what kind of skills do they learn? And again, let's start with Alyson.
So the engineering students take an introductory engineering course in 9th grade. In the 10th grade at Burbank High School, they take a computer programming class. And the 10th grade at John Burroughs, they take construction design, an engineering construction and design class. At the junior level at both schools, they take physics. And for seniors, they take the advanced engineering course. And the kind of hands-on projects they're going to do there are very hands-on. They are using all kinds of tools. They have projects where they may be cutting wood and assembling and understanding and learning how to make something from scratch. They have electrical circuits that they have to build. They have robotics kits. They make search and rescue robots and test those out. Engineering's not my thing exactly, but I've been in the class many times to watch it, and I've learned along the way, and I'm still learning what some of the stuff is called. But they do a lot of electrical, mechanical, physical, robots, pretty cool stuff.
Very good, very good. Now, now in physics, a lot of times you also learn about all these different laws of how things work. So you learn about levers and fulcrums and things like that, torque and all that kind of stuff. So do they get actual like application for these things?
Well, they have labs where they have to create things. Again, I'm not the physics teacher, so I wouldn't be able to exactly say what those assignments are called, but they do have labs where every time they're learning something, now they have to apply it and create something and kind of prove that they've understood that and can demonstrate it.
Wow, that's good. I'll tell you, I think that is key. It's not about just memorizing a bunch of data, but actually applying, using it, and that's actually very good. Cynthia, would you like to add anything further to that?
No, I mean, I've seen some amazing projects. I'm thinking of Hike's project. He engineered a electronic go-kart and was able to get some media on that. And that was kind of fun to watch some of these kids get really involved and do specific projects. So,
all right, very good, very good. Okay, so next we have the Medical Academy. So again, what classes do students enrolled in the Medical Academy take, and what kind of skills do they learn? Alyson?
So our freshman level class for the Medical Academy is health. Start with the basics. And then our sophomore classes are global health, where they really look at the health of the world and epidemics and issues that different countries and different groups of people face. Then they do have a semester class called Medical Professions, where this is where a lot of community members would easily fit into being a guest speaker, where they get to see all the different levels of how to find if you're interested in the medical field, but you're not really certain, are you going to be a doctor, or do you want to be a nurse practitioner, or do you want to be a physical therapist? Where does that fall for you? And they get to learn about all the different options really in the medical field and hear from a lot of guest speakers during that class. Our junior level class is anatomy and physiology, which again has a lot of lab situation in there, and dissections, and a lot of stuff goes on in that class, hands-on science things. And then the senior class, they have a semester of biotechnology, where they're getting to use industry-specific tools like pipettes, micropipettes. They make cheese in that. They make root beer. They do a lot of pretty cool hands-on deep science stuff in there, but without human tissue. And then they also have a semester of professional ethics as well.
All right, very good. So no actual, like in colleges, no real live cadavers then, huh?
No,
Or
not
I guess
yet.
they wouldn't be live, would they?
Right.
So,
Right.
okay, that's good to know. So now you both have mentioned something called work-based learning. So now, what do you mean by that, and what exactly does that encompass?
So work-based learning is to me the backbone of the academy, because you can take a class in school and you can take anatomy, you could take physics, you can take some of these classes that are offered anyways, but this is infused from the very, very first class, from the get-go, where the teachers are bringing in these guest speakers. And so the work-based learning is taking some skills that you need to know and understand to be successful in the workplace, and giving you the opportunity to practice, learn, and make mistakes in a more safe environment in high school, and to learn from that. So to give you a quick laundry list: dressing for success, understanding how to dress for an interview or how to dress for the workplace. We have job fairs. They have to dress for success, bring their resume, and introduce themselves to people at what we call CTE Day. I'm sure Diana mentioned that when she talked about CTE.
Mm-hmm.
We do have our classroom guest speakers. We have our students every October need to do an informational interview, and that's where the students interview the professionals and ask all about their careers and what was their education pathway, what was that like, and they're learning to see, like, maybe am I fitting into that particular role? Can I see myself going to get my bachelor's and then on to med school for another bunch of years before I'm really working and practicing medicine? The kids, as Cynthia mentioned, we do mock interviews. And so that is where we get community members like yourself to volunteer. We provide the questions and a rubric. And the students, it's a virtual interview, so we're doing it over Zoom. The students are prepped, because we don't just hope for the best. It is our job and embedded in our classes and our curriculum to teach them how to write the resume and a cover letter and writing professional goals and writing down their references and all of those things. And one of the other things that we're always doing is putting together a professional digital portfolio on a Google site. And so students in the interview have the opportunity to share their link, which is kind of like a living resume. It's kind of like maybe you and I would see a really well-developed LinkedIn. And so they have all of those things that they've learned and things that they're working on. And another piece of work-based learning is, we call it an industry visit. It's a field trip, but we kind of reshaped the name because they're really going to see the place of industry, to see what happens there. What do those people do that work there? And we've got some great community partners, like, for example, with the medical academy, we went to Providence St. Joseph, and they probably had 35 to 40 different people from different departments come in and talk to the students and explain about what they do in some rotational roundtables. And then they took the kids on tour into those departments, and they got to see it real life. So you can see, that's real work-based learning. You're in the workplace learning. And our final culminating project for students for work-based learning is a required work experience. And to be clear, the students can work their part-time jobs if they already have one, or we have opportunities often and community partners that will host interns, and they can also just find a job on their own. We also partner with the City of Burbank and their CREST program or the STEP program. And really what we are asking of the students is to work on their soft skills. So our students do not need to intern in engineering or in the medical field or at an accounting firm. Now, if we have an opportunity for that, and we'd love to be able to provide more partnerships and provide those opportunities for kids who want to intern in those fields. But for the most part, the students are just practicing basic soft skills: communication, teamwork, initiative, making, smart decisions, showing up, on time and dressing professionally for the workplace. So like all the stuff we've prepped them for, including interviewing to land that job, is kind of their last piece. They usually do it either the summer before their senior year, and some of them do them during senior year. Not recommended. It's a very busy year in terms of college applications, but then they have a whole reflection piece that makes them take a look at that experience and really reflect on it. And then that's the final page of their digital portfolio.
Wow. So then the end result is that a student gets the academic knowledge needed to be able to get into the fields and to work in those fields. Plus they get the some current information, knowledge, or training that is actually used in those careers, as well as guidance from experts that are currently working in those specific fields. Is that correct?
Yes.
Wow, that's a lot. Cynthia, would you like to add anything further?
Just that Alyson is sharing that it's job related, but a lot of this can be volunteer. So that's why I'm always looking for community partners. If you have an opportunity where a student can come in and do an internship, you don't need to pay them, but they could get those 80 hours and they can learn these soft skills and learn how to, answer the phone and be on time and dress professionally. So I just want to put it out there that any community member that's maybe watching this, that is thinking, oh, I could use some students, but I could really help them and guide them and teach them. That's when you want to reach out to us, because we can probably match you with some amazing, sharp kids.
Wow, very good. Now, so are there some qualifications or requirements for the students to enroll into these academies?
It's very basic. The students have to show an interest, and they do apply online, and our application window always opens in mid to late January. And the students just need to have a cumulative 2.0 GPA, which means they're passing their classes. And then to stay in it, you need to continue passing your classes.
Right. Okay, good. That makes sense.
Basics.
So, I'm sorry?
It's just the basics.
The basics. Yes, exactly. So, so when would students actually enroll into these academies? So who would be the better person to answer that question?
I'll share that the application window, as I mentioned, is open in January, and it changes a little bit. So I don't want to be date specific, but it is open in January. It's usually open for about 2 weeks and closes the first week of February, around that time frame. And then it's my job to go through all the applicants and to screen to make sure that they are eligible. And then they're notified. Families, the parent email is collected, parent or guardian email is collected, and the student email is collected. And so both of those emails are sent a notification of their status of acceptance. And then the way to enroll is just all our students in Burbank Unified self-register for their classes. And so we have our NAF website with supporting documents for families and parents to follow along slideshow that tells you, depending on your grade level and academy that you picked and the school that you're going to, which class and section numbers you register for. And then, once you're cleared to register, you pick the right classes, and then you come to school the next year and you're in the class and you're in the program.
So a student could register in any school year from 9th through 12th grade?
We focus mostly on incoming 9th graders. And then we do have some spots that are maybe open or become vacant. And so we do advertise also to our current 9th graders. They can join when they're going into their 10th grade. And there's a handful that do that. We do advertise to our current 10th graders that they could possibly join going into the 11th grade. But that's that last time frame that you can join. You really can't join going into your senior year because of all of the classes that are required. You wouldn't be able to fit them in your schedule.
Right.
You really need a minimum of 2 years.
And just to put on top of this, we really want to focus on middle school. So if a middle schooler is watching this, parent, this is when you want to ask about NAF and not wait until they're in high school, because you want to get this curriculum and registration done before they start ninth grade.
Okay. All right. Very good. So that would be the ideal time to start.
Exactly.
Okay, very good. Now, there's a lot that's involved, and the students get a lot of training. Now, is there a cost involved with enrolling or staying in one of these academies?
No, there's no cost. The classes are part of the day and are Burbank Unified teachers, and we are funded. A lot of our stuff is grant funded or partially grant funded. So it's either funded by like general fund or grant funding, but it is not a cost that is passed along to the family.
Wow. So there's quite a bit of training that they get, and there's no cost. That's actually very good. Well, I'll tell you, this is actually pretty amazing. Now, I mentioned this in the last podcast when we talked about the CTE, but at Success Tutoring Online, we've been helping students with academic progress for over 20 years. And we help students to learn and understand what they're studying in school and how they can use it or apply it in their lives or in the future. But a lot of times before coming to see us, we find that students are not really learning. They might be getting through their classes, and they may or may not be getting good grades, but they're not necessarily engaged, interested, and actively trying to learn and understand the material that's presented in class. They're kind of just going through the motions. And one of the reasons is that students don't necessarily see how the material that they're studying in school will help them in any way. So they don't necessarily see the value of it for themselves. They don't see the value in it for themselves. So, it's not real to them. And I think that the programs that you have, such as the CTE and the NAF Academy, really help students to see the value in what they're learning in school. And I think that if they see that, it will really help to stimulate interest and engagement so that they really want to learn. Now, would either of you care to comment on that?
Sure. I mean, I think it's exactly, that's what the program, that's what CTE is for. And that's what NAF Academy is all about. And that's that work-based learning component that is so critical. Really provides what you're talking about maybe is missing for some kids. It is that direct connection, and they feel that they're learning something that they can apply, that they can see themselves pursuing as a future career. And so the lessons become more than an assignment. They become, an excursion and understanding engineering better, something like that.
Very good. Would you like to say anything further, Cynthia?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the work-based learning, going on field trips, communicating with other adults in those particular jobs that they might be seeking out, really helps them understand, okay, can I see myself doing this, sitting here, being this, doing this? And so I think that's huge, because you'll see two things happen. Kids will either move forward and, okay, this is what I'm going to do, or I'm getting out of this. This is not what I want to do. And both results actually help the student realize, I want to move forward in this direction, or this is not the direction I want to head.
Either way, they learn.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Very good. So, like I said, I really think these are great programs. And I don't know if students really understand the full value that's available to them. I'm really glad that we're able to go over this material about the NAF Academy so that students and their families can learn about them and see the benefits. I mentioned this also in the CTE podcast, but I'll mention it again. Students still need to learn and understand what they're studying in class. And that is where, tutoring comes into play, such as what we provide at Success Tutoring Online. But understanding the material that they are learning in class, coupled with the programs that you are overseeing, really gives students a chance at succeeding not only as high school students, but as successful, productive, well-compensated, and happy adults. Now, would either of you like to comment on that?
Agreed 100%.
Right.
That's exactly the goal, is, whatever their mission is. Are we going into career after this, or are we going to college? Typically with medical and engineering, you're going to need that college piece. But if they need to do work-based learning and go into a job in business, they have the potential to do so.
Very good. So I'm going to place a link to the Burbank USD NAF Academy website in the notes of the podcast. But if any students or parents want to get more information about the NAF Academy, where else could they go, or how would they get more information?
Well, actually, on that NAF link that you're going to post, there's a staff drop down, and I'm on there, and I'll add Cynthia on there as our board chair, and community members can reach out to either of us, or community members maybe should reach out to Cynthia as the community board chair, and parents and students on the BUSD side thinking about school related questions could reach out to me.
Okay, very good. Well, we're pretty much getting to the end of today's podcast. So would either of you would like to say anything further about CTE, the NAF Academy, career exploration or preparation, community college, or anything else? Cynthia?
For me, I'm here because I would love to have more community members involved in helping make a difference. So if you're watching this and you have an opportunity for a student to understand a little bit more about you, your job, your career, what you do, give us a call. Let's just connect and find out if you can be a partner or a participant in our program.
Okay, very good. Alyson?
Thanks. I just, thanks for the opportunity for us to share about our program. We really want to get the word out in every avenue possible for parents to understand about what's going on at the high school level and what opportunities are there for students. And I hope that a lot of people learned a lot from our podcast today. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Well, okay, Alyson, Cynthia, thank you so much for coming on as guests and for letting parents and students know about the NAF Academy and all that's available. And I want to thank you both for joining us here today. And I would like to thank you both for what it is that you are doing to help students.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Okay, and we will be in communication, and I guess we will talk to you later. Okay, bye. I want to thank all of our podcast listeners and all of those watching on YouTube for joining us today. I hope that you have found today's show to be valuable and informative. If you like today's show and you haven't already, please subscribe so as not to miss any of our upcoming interviews. For now, this is Armando Salcido signing off, and I hope to see you again next week. As mentioned at the beginning of the show, Learning with Success is sponsored by Success Tutoring Online. Our administrative offices are located in Burbank, California, but we provide tutoring or academic advancement to students throughout the United States.